How we doing, everybody? This is Dave Weigert with the Splash of Gas podcast, coming from you live from Dover Motor Speedway, home of the Monster Mile. Made the drive out earlier this morning. Xfinity race will be later today. Got the Cup practice and qualifying, along with that for Xfinity 2. ARCA was last night. We'll get into more of that recap later in this episode. Super pumped. This is my first time at Dover. Can't wait to see Miles the Monster and so much more. So we'll keep you updated and go from there.
Back in studio. What a hot and wet but awesome time out in Dover this past weekend. ARCA, Xfinity, and Cup Series would all be in action. Splash of Gas would be on track all day Saturday as well. Storylines going into the weekend. ARCA, with almost a month since the series has been on an oval. Brent Crews, Brenden Butterbean Queen, and New Jersey native Lavar Scott would be ready to battle on the high banks of Dover. Xfinity, with Gibbs Racing winning the last two Xfinity Dover races. Could another team claim the top spot? Cup Series, after dominance from Shane van Gisbergen, taking the last two races on the streets of Chicago, then the road course of Sonoma. Hendrick Motorsports and Gibbs Racing have had success at Dover. Will one of their drivers turn it up on Sunday? Yellow flag, green flag, discussions with Dave. Predictions for Indianapolis. We will have our predictions for IRP on the second episode this week. Pre-race chats with Josh Bilicki and Blaine Perkins, plus full interview with Cup Series driver Justin Haley. And so much more on this episode of Splash of Gas. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weigert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weigert. Now for the ARCA Series recap. ARCA would be back in action as they fire it up in Dover. After qualifying, Brenden Butterbean Queen would be on the pole. Brent Crews and Queen make up the front row, going to green. Butterbean would get the jump and take the lead early. Scary sight for Brent Crews as he makes hard contact with the wall with a tire going down, engulfing the front of his car in flames. Thankfully, he gets out safely. Queen and Jake Finch on the following restart with 99 laps to go. Butterbean again takes the point leading. The 70 car of Camden Murphy gets past Finch for second. Yellow for a spin of the 86 car. Murphy and Queen on the restart. But Murphy would miss a shift, slowing the inside lane. Queen takes the lead again with Timmy Hill in second. Murphy would be racing Hill hard as the two battle for the second spot. And with the upcoming planned caution, it would mean a spot on the next restart on the front row. Timmy Hill holds the spot. Butterbean and Hill restart with 45 laps to go. Can anyone stop Brenden Queen? Camden Murphy would eventually work his way back to second. In the end, the night would be dominated by Brenden Butterbean Queen as he grabs the win and his fourth of the year. Bean Nation, rise up. Trivia question time. This episode's question is, who won the first time NASCAR went to the Brickyard for the Brickyard 400 in 1994? Answer coming at the end. Now for our pre-race chats from Dover, featuring Blaine Perkins and Josh Bilicki, both from the Xfinity Series.
David Weigert here, Blaine Perkins outside of Dover. Had two road courses. How do you feel going back to an oval here?
Looking forward to it. I don't have any laps here at Dover, so looking forward to kind of getting some laps in today. And it's a really cool, neat racetrack, and nothing's really like it. So looking forward to today.
A lot of drivers say it's like hauling the mail. It's fast, like you just said. It's a concrete track. Any worries about the tire wear, or how you feeling about that?
Nah, I'm sure we'll be good there. I mean, this place is just kind of like you said, it's the Monster Mile. It's intimidating, it's fast, but I don't know. As a race car driver, that's just kind of what you love, and looking forward to it. It's kind of like just a big, fast, short track. So hopefully we have a good day today on the 31.
Sounds great. Any expectations?
I think we can definitely run top 20. They had some good cars here last year. Really excited to kind of get into practice here and see what we have. And we've been working hard for this racetrack. So just looking forward to seeing how today goes.
Gotcha. Sounds great. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Here you go, man.
Cool.
Thank you. David Weicker here with Josh Balicki at Dover Motor Speedway. Just had 2 road courses. It's kind of your specialty. How do you feel going back to a mile over oval here?
I love Dover. It's been a little bit since I've been here in an Xfinity car, so I'm excited. I hope the weather holds off for today. But actually had 3 because I ran the truck race at Lime Rock, so 3 road courses back to back. I had really good speed at all of them. Chicago, the Xfinity race, Mechanical Gremlin took us out, but had a good run in the Cup car. Top 10 in the trucks at Lime Rock. Solid finish for us last week at Sonoma. So we got momentum on our side, and this is one of my favorite ovals, so I'm excited to be here.
Sounds great. This is probably one of the fastest miles that we go to. Just saying, you have some momentum. Any expectations, goals for the race?
Yeah, top 20, top 15 would be a really good day for us today.
Hey, sounds great. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Josh.
Now for the Xfinity recap. Xfinity Series, we get the party going on Saturday. They would be able to get their practice and qualifying in just before the early afternoon rain. Taylor Gray would win the pole, followed by Nick Sanchez, making up the front row. Once the race went green, Gray would get the lead and start to put a gap on Sanchez in second. Zilich, then Brandon Jones follow. 30 laps into the stage, Sanchez would fall to fourth as Jones and Eric Amarola pass him for second and third. Connor Zilich still fifth. Amarola would eventually pass Brandon Jones for second. He would get within 2 or 3 car lengths of Gray, but Taylor Gray goes on to win the first stage. Unfortunately for Gray, he has a slow pit stop and has to restart 15th. Brandon Jones and Connor Zilich on the restart, followed by Allgaier and Amarola. Zilich gets a run on the outside lane and takes command of the lead. 7 laps into the stage, Amarola would pass Jones for second. More talk of weather comes on the radio, and from the grandstands, it was getting more cloudy. But that was taking away the sun. A little give and take on that one. 30 laps into stage 2, Zilich would have over a 1-second lead on Amarola. Eric would start to close the lead as the laps counted down in the stage, but Connor Zilich wins stage 2, followed by Amarola, Jones, Allgaier, and Ryan Sieg making up the top 5. Everyone would pit besides Kyle Sieg. Him and Zilich would restart for the third and final stage, but the clouds would be getting closer and closer. When would the rain fall? Connor Zilich again gets the jump as Ryan Sieg drops like a rock, splitting the field down the middle. Brandon Jones and Amarola follow in second and third. Both Ross Chastain and Nick Sanchez would be forced to the garage for mechanical issues. Zilich still leads as the rain approaches. 30 laps into stage 3, NASCAR would bring out the yellow flag for rain, but bring the red flag out 3 laps later, with the rain not stopping before the track could be dried. As the race was more than halfway through, NASCAR ruled that Connor Zilich is the winner. Amarola in second, then Jones, Allgaier, and Jesse Love making up the top 5. Congratulations to Connor Zilich on back-to-back wins. Now for the Cup Series recap. Practice and qualifying for the Cup Series would get rained out on Saturday. Chase Elliott would be on the pole alongside Chase Briscoe, making up the front row. One of the big stories as mentioned is the new tire that Goodyear is debuting specifically just for Dover. How will the tire do against the concrete there? Once the race went green, Briscoe would get the jump, leading early. About a dozen laps in, Chase Elliott would take the lead from Briscoe. Elliott would be leading, followed by Briscoe into the first yellow, a planned competition caution on lap 35 to ensure the tires were keeping up. By the time of the yellow, you could see on track the black lines that the tires were putting down rubber and wearing throughout the run. Elliott and Briscoe again on the following restart. Laps later, Christopher Bell, who started on the second row on the last restart, would make it past his teammate of Briscoe for second. 70 laps in, it would be Elliott, Bell, Briscoe, Byron, and Hamlin making up the top 5. As the laps of the first stage tick down, Chase Briscoe loses more spots as Byron and Hamlin pass him for third and fourth. 10 to go in the first stage, it would be Elliott leading, followed by Bell and Hamlin. Chase Elliott will go on to win Stage 1. AJ Allmendinger and John Hunter Nemechek have tires go down on the last lap of the stage, pushing the new tires. Elliott and Bell restart on the front row for Stage 2. Hamlin and Byron on the second row. Chase Elliott again gets the jump and leads. 50 laps into the 130-lap Stage 2, Chase Elliott leads with Bell, Hamlin, and Byron following. 12 laps later, Zane Smith pits, starting the pit cycle for Stage 2. Hamlin pits from third on lap 185. A lap later, the top 2 of Elliott and Bell pit. Chase has a long pit stop. Christopher Bell beats him off pit road. Once the pit cycle was completed, Bell would be leading with Hamlin and Alex Bowman in second and third. The rest of Stage 2 would stay green and be won by Christopher Bell. Alex Bowman would get his way into second. Hamlin, Elliott, and Kyle Larson would make up the rest of the top 5. After pit stops, the order leaving pit road would be Bell, Elliott, Bowman, and Hamlin. After the pit road mishap, could Chase get back to the lead? Bell and Elliott on the restart for the third and final stage, but they wouldn't make it long. Bell and Elliott would be racing hard side by side with Bell on the outside. Christopher would spin in turn 4, bringing out the first yellow 4 incident. Tough luck for the leader. Elliott and Hamlin would be on the front row for the following restart. Elliott grabs the lead again. Alex Bowman would get past Hamlin for second, but it wouldn't last too long as Denny eventually gets his way back to the second spot. 100 laps to go. Chase Elliott leads over by 3 seconds on Hamlin and Bowman in second and third. Another battle to watch is the one for the bracket challenge, as Ty Dillon would be in 28th, trying to catch John Hunter Nemechek in 24th. Spotters and crew chiefs tell the drivers that there could be rain soon. Chase Briscoe would start the next round of pit stops when he would pit with 76 laps to go. 2 laps later, leaders of Elliott and Hamlin come down pit road. Christopher Bell and Austin Dillon on the long run strategy are first and second with 62 laps to go. The yellow would come out for rain, but the rain doesn't last too long. Bell pits under the yellow, along with Chase Elliott and several others. Bell and Hamlin on the front row, Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon on the second row for the restart with 57 to go. Hamlin on the older tires gets the jump and leads with Bell in second. Austin Dillon takes control of the third spot. 6 laps later, Elliott gets past Dillon. Can Bell or Elliott catch Denny Hamlin? 20 laps to go. Hamlin would still be at the lead. Bell is 0.3 of a second behind, and Chase Elliott in third. 17 laps to go. The yellow would fly as Ross Chastain hits the wall. More talk about weather comes on the radio. Will it happen or not? They wouldn't restart under the yellow. The rain again would fall. 14 laps to go. The red flag comes out. Top 5 is Hamlin, Bell, Elliott, Larson, and Bowman. Would they call the race or go back green? Yes, it would. With 8 laps to go, they would restart with Hamlin and Bell leading. But they wouldn't even make it a lap before Christopher Bell spins on the front stretch, also collecting Chase Briscoe and Noah Gragson. This will put the race into overtime. Hamlin and Kyle Larson lead the pack for the overtime, but on the backstretch, Ryan Preece and Zane Smith make contact, wrecking out, putting the race into a second overtime. Denny Hamlin would get the jump the 2 previous restarts before the quick yellows. Could he keep it up? Hamlin and Chase Briscoe restart. Briscoe edges Denny out on the first turn, but isn't able to clear out of turn 2. The both remain side by side into turn 3. Hamlin gets a great run off of turn 4 and takes control. The last lap stays green, and Denny Hamlin is victorious in Dover. If you were paying attention to the bracket challenge, Ty Dillon and John Hunter Nemechek were 24th and 23rd under the rain delay. Ty Dillon charges and gets the lucky dog on one of the late yellows, putting him a lap ahead of Nemechek, securing Ty the win, putting the 32 seed into the championship round. And more talk about ties. Ty Gibbs wins the battle over Tyler Reddick. Now, a quick look back at our predictions we made. ARCA went with Butterbean Queen, and he wins in Dover. Xfinity tapped Carson Copole. He finishes 15th. Cup picked Kyle Larson. He comes back with a 4th place finish. Now for yellow flag, green flag. ARCA green flag. That 70 car for Nitro Motorsports once again showing speed. Driver Camden Murphy in his ARCA debut brings it home second. Yellow flag Xfinity. The weather, it was on track. Rain canceled the Cup, practice and qualifying, and as we know, shortening the Xfinity race. Green flag Xfinity, Connor Zilic. He by far had the fastest and strongest car. If the race went back green, he would have won most likely. He was just non-stop. Cup, yellow flag, just a tough weekend for Ross Chastain, finishing 38th in Xfinity and 33rd in the Cup Series. Green flag, Cup Series, give it to the guy we just had on a couple weeks ago, from the 32 seed to the championship, Ty Dillon. What a run in this bracket tournament for Ty. Can't wait for the championship round in Indy. Now for our interview with Justin Haley. Next guest we bring on to the show is driver of the 7 Chevy for Spire Motorsports in the NASCAR Cup Series, Justin Haley. And Justin.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Have me on.
Yeah. Before we get into the on-track action, you joined Spire midway through last year after being with Rick Ware Racing. This is your first full-time season with them. How has it been with them and working with crew chief Ryan Sparks?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has had its ups and downs, just like any long season does. But yeah, I feel like we've had decent speed at times, and just a lot of unfortunate luck throughout the season. So yeah, I feel like we've got all the right parts and pieces to go out there and compete for wins. It's just a matter of time now.
Gotcha. Getting into the on-track action, after the Chicago Street Course, where you finished 22nd, you go to Sonoma for another road course last weekend. For the first and second stages, you pit during the stage breaks, making up spots quickly. You finish stage 1, 16th, and stage 2, 18th. You make contact with Hamlin briefly in turn 2 on lap 32, but keep it going. How was the car feeling, and what was your mindset going into the longest stage in California there?
Yeah, I mean, Sonoma's always tough. It's a long race. Me and Denny actually hit dirt there and got off. I don't think there was any contact, but
Okay.
there was a big patch of dirt that had came onto the racing surface, and we both kind of just hit it and slid off there. But yeah, it's part of Sonoma. It's usually a pretty dirty racetrack, which makes it kind of tough to really get the potential out of the race car, but it's also just such a long race. 110 laps at a road course is just so long. So, just trying to manage the day and try to, put it all together. And, caught some lucky breaks and had some decent speed. We set the fastest lap of the race. So, like I said, it's kind of all there. Just, it's just about executing Sundays.
Gotcha. Yeah, part of my next question, what you just said, did grab the fastest lap there. You walk away with a 15th place finish in Sonoma. How would you say your day went, and how's the road course packages that Spire is bringing to the track?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we just we unloaded too far off on Saturday to get track position early, and it just kind of took us all of Sunday to get up there. And we set the fastest lap pretty late in the race. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely difficult with the shortened practices and just kind of having to unload race how you unload. I guess there's really not much you can do to them, but yeah, we've slowly been getting the road course package a little bit better. Feel like I'm definitely was as comfortable as I've been at Sonoma. Chicago's a bit of a struggle, and Mexico we were pretty good as well. So yeah, just like anything, it's kind of up and down. There's different services and different kinds of racetracks, but I think in general we've been all right.
Awesome. Thank you for touching on that. Moving to this past weekend at Dover, where you raced yesterday. All 3 times you've been there previously, you come out with all top 25 finishes, including an 11th place in 2022. With practice and qualifying getting rained out on Saturday, Goodyear would also be debuting a new tire specifically for the concrete surface at Dover. Competition caution on lap 35. How were the tires and car feeling early?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I'm not even sure if we need practice or qualifying anymore. Just at least at those kinds of racetracks, definitely just kind of whatever you have is what you have, and the cars are usually pretty decent anyway when you unload them. So yeah, I thought our race car was okay. We made some minor adjustments throughout the race and got it a little bit better. I thought the tire was pretty good too. Obviously, it laid down a lot of rubber, and we picked it back up under caution, and the rain washed it away pretty quick too, and then we put it back down pretty quick. So yeah, I thought you could definitely move around a good bit and manipulate the car a little bit more than maybe previously. So yeah, I thought it was a good step in the right direction for the tire. I thought it was yeah, a good move.
Cool. You finished stage 1 25th and stage 2 23rd. You mentioned the tire just now. How is the tire wearing on the longer runs, and how are you feeling on this stage of the race and stage 3 at the end there?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had a decent amount of grip. And we fell off a little bit on lap time. I wouldn't say it was a lot of fall off, but the car definitely started to handle worse and worse throughout the run, and you had to obviously move around, and it was just kind of all over the place with the rubbers. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the tires were wearing there on the clean track when we started the race. A lot of teams showed cords, which, is kind of what you want to see for a clean track in the first 35 laps. I mean, that just kind of means that the tire is right on its max. So, yeah, like I said, I thought the tire was a good move. I thought the race was pretty racy. A lot of times you can just get stuck behind people, and it gets super frustrating in the air. But I feel like this tire allowed us to move around a little bit more.
Gotcha. You come out with a 17th place finish. In the end, how were you feeling leaving Dover?
Yeah, I mean, we always want more. Yeah, it's kind of where we've been right now is somewhere between 15th and 20th. So just trying to find that little bit extra to take the next jump to the next 5 positions, and then so on and so forth. We definitely have had times where we've had a decent amount of speed, and other times where we've completely missed it. But yeah, just trying to work, on it together. I feel like with no practice, no qualifying, my first time with the team at Dover or a track like Dover, I thought it was a decent day.
Appreciate the honesty. Next race is at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Being an Indiana native, what does the track mean to you, and what would it mean to have a solid day there?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously grew up right there in Indiana, and spent a lot of time at the Brickyard. So yeah, it's definitely a cool race for me, seeing all of my friends and family and familiar faces, and obviously, it's pretty cool to have the Brickyard as your home racetrack as well. So, yeah, it's a cool race. Hope a lot of fans are there, and we get a good crowd, and we can put on a good show.
Awesome. You finished 20th there last year. Any goals and expectations for when you unload over there at the weekend at the Brickyard?
No, I mean, we just want to have a good balance of the car and good speed and try to put the weekend together. That's all you can hope for.
10-4. Just went over where you're going to be next weekend. Last question. I know you and the 17 are focused every weekend. And any specific tracks that you're looking forward to going for the remainder of the schedule?
No, not really. I mean, I like to go to Bristol. I feel like we were pretty decent there in the spring. So, we ran second for a lot of the race to Larson. So I'm kind of looking forward to that one to see, how much better we can be there. But, I don't, not really sure. Iowa was a good track for me last year. So, there's a few of them that seem decent and try to put together good runs there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the time, Justin. Best this weekend in Indiana, and hope to talk to you soon, all right?
Yep, thank you. I appreciate it.
See ya. Some great insight from Justin. Neat to talk to him right before he races at his home track of Indianapolis. Now for discussions with Dave. Topic 1. Dover Tire Diaries. As we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, Goodyear was debuting a specific tire formulated just for the concrete surface of Dover. We brought up this topic last year when the Goodyear tires were practically falling apart at some tracks. Goodyear really needed to get their act together, and they've done it this year. And this tire that they brought to the track on Sunday at Dover really does show that. A lot of the driver's stress at a track like Dover is specifically the tire wear. And as I said on the race recap, you could see that. And you could even see it on Saturday too when I was at the track, was the two lines that the tires would make. The track would rubber up, as some of the drivers say. We did see at the end of stage 1, John Hunter Nemechek and AJ Allmendinger really pushing those tires to the limit. Some of the cords were coming out. It's kind of expected. But if you look who won the race, Denny Hamlin won on old tires compared to who was behind him. So the tire that they brought wore pretty good. I didn't really hear too many drivers complain about tire wear or not wearing at all. And in the end, it was Denny Hamlin using his old school tire saving knowledge from years of racing goes on to win the race. So kudos to Goodyear. They did the job, and guess what? The storylines from Dover weren't about the tire. So they did their job. Next topic, no Chicago on the schedule in 2026. Street course in San Diego. Several episodes ago, when we were talking about bringing back the Chicago street course, I was in favor of it. As this past race in Chicago, I thought the racing quality was some of the best that we have seen there. Was really not in favor in going to a new street course and having those same growing pains until I heard the plan for San Diego. NASCAR announced that they will be racing on a street course at the Naval Base Coronado in San Diego in 2026. The race will be held over Father's Day weekend, June 19th to the 21st. All three series, Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series, will be in action. We will see how everything turns out with the track and details like that. But NASCAR hit it out of the park, in my opinion, with the first ever race on an active military base. So cool. The past 3 trips to Chicago, Xfinity and Cup Series, have raced. Really excited to see the trucks on a street course for the first time as well. Have only seen pictures of this Navy base, but it looks beautiful, and I'm sure the flyovers are going to be spectacular. Can't wait for this one on the schedule next year. Next topic, ARCA Motorsports closing after Dover. Last episode, we discussed how Chris Wright was abruptly leaving ARCA Motorsports effective immediately, and Kaz Gralla was filling his seat for Dover. Like I said last week, was surprised by that. thought Wright and ARCA Motorsports had everything locked down for a whole season this year. And then a couple days later, ARCA Motorsports announced after Dover, they're closing up shop. Unfortunately, they're not competing week in and week out for wins, but they have been a regular in the Xfinity Series for some time. Maybe I just didn't have my ear to the ground on this topic enough specifically, was surprised by the departure of Wright. I'm even more surprised that ARCA Motorsports is closing up shop. Made sure to take some pictures of their pit stall on Saturday. Now for our last topic on Discussions with Dave for this episode, is announced that the Grand Marshal for this weekend's Brickyard 400 will be none other than Cookie Monster as part of a new Sesame Street campaign. When I think of Indianapolis and NASCAR, Sesame Street doesn't usually come to mind. The marshals at these races are typically athletes, celebrities, and yes, of course, Cookie Monster is a celebrity. Thought was a cool twist. Really excited to see what he does in Indianapolis. I'm sure he'll give the command as well. Hopefully it brings some new fans into the sport. And that wraps up this episode's edition of Discussions with Dave. Now for the bracket breakdown, championship round. We look at the final four, discussed it briefly in the race recap. Ty Dillon goes on to beat John Hunter Nemechek. Little bit of a nail biter. Ty Dillon was behind Nemechek one spot coming out of the rain delay. Ty Dillon makes it up, and on one of those late race cautions, he gets the lucky dog going one lap ahead of Nemechek. Ty Gibbs edges out Toyota teammate Tyler Reddick to secure his spot into the championship round. When the bracket challenge started, really had no idea what to expect, or if I would even like it. The bracket style head-to-head matchups has just made the racing and viewing as a fan so exciting. Ty Dillon in the 32 seed, I thought he had, honestly, not even a chance to beat Denny Hamlin the first round. We saw what happens. Ty gets on a roll. He's racing his butt off week in, week out, as he said on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he secures his spot, making a name for himself once again, getting one race closer to winning that $1 million. Ty Gibbs, still on the verge of his first NASCAR win. He's been on a little bit of a hot streak recently, getting several top fives throughout this season. Not too surprised to see the Joe Gibbs driver and Ty Gibbs in that championship round facing off against Ty Dillon. Yes, it is the Ty and Ty show. Obviously, Ty Gibbs has the Gibbs name. He is Joe Gibbs' grandson. But if you didn't know, Ty Dillon is Richard Childress's grandson, and also brothers to Austin Dillon, driver of the 3. As a fan and someone that likes to go through the history of the sport, it's super cool that in the first bracket challenge, you have two grandsons of Hall of Fame owners. Not how anyone drew the championship round out by any means. This matchup, again, will be another one to look out for. And now our prediction for the championship round in the bracket tournament. If you've been paying attention the last couple weeks, give me the underdog, Ty Dillon, the 32 seed, to win over Ty Gibbs. See how that plays out. Moving right along, now for the playoff breakdown, Xfinity Series. Xfinity has 6 more regular season races before their playoffs start in Bristol. Right now, there's been 7 different full-time drivers to win at the Xfinity level this year. As they sit in the standings, Connor Zilisch, Justin Allgaier, Austin Hill, Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith, and Nick Sanchez. With the Xfinity Series taking 12 drivers into the playoffs, that means there's 5 drivers right now on the right side of the points. And they are Sam Mayer, plus 162, Carson Kvapil, plus 86, Sheldon Creed, plus 61, Taylor Gray, plus 37. And by the skin of his teeth, in 12th, the last guy on the right side of the bubble currently, Gisbergen, plus 7. Drivers on the wrong side of the bubble within realistically pointing their way into the playoffs, Harrison Burton, minus 7. Ryan Sieg, minus 30. Dean Thompson, minus 62. And Christian Eckes, minus 70. If you have been following the Xfinity Series for the last several years, the top 12 with the name of drivers and the teams that they race for really aren't surprises. The only surprise, I guess, is kind of towards the end is to see Jeb Burton still on the right side of the points the way it is in that Jordan Anderson Racing. We know size-wise they're much smaller than some of these Junior Motorsports and Richard Childress, Joe Gibbs, Xfinity stables. But we also know that they can truly bring it. And Jeb, Talladega, Daytona, these bigger tracks, we know that he can win races and contend up there. Not overly surprised with the combination of drivers. I am surprised, though, with how well that Stewart-Haas Xfinity team was and how good Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed have been this year. Haas Factory team has not a single win this year in the Xfinity Series. We'll see how things ramp up as Xfinity starts their playoffs in Bristol. Now, playoff breakdown, Cup Series. Cup Series has 5 regular season races remaining before their playoff start after the second Daytona race. As things sit currently, there's been 12 different drivers to win a Cup Series race so far this year. Those drivers are Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Shane Van Gisbergen, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, and Josh Berry. With NASCAR taking 16 cars into the playoffs, right now there is 4 cars on points. And those are Tyler Reddick, plus 156, Alex Bowman, plus 63, Chris Buescher, plus 44, Bubba Wallace, the 16th and final spot as we sit, plus 16. Ryan Preece in the 17th spot is minus 16. Then Kyle Busch, minus 39. Ty Gibbs, minus 52. Michael McDowell, minus 77. 2 drivers that I wasn't completely sold were going to get a win this year that have gotten a win. That's Austin Cindric and Josh Berry. Since this season has started, and especially on the bigger tracks where he excels, Austin Cindric has been bringing it and leading laps, and that led him to win in Talladega. Josh Berry, we know how good he can be on the short tracks and in any type of car too. Thought Berry's first win would have come out of Richmond or of Martinsville. Nonetheless, he wins in Las Vegas and locks himself into the playoffs. With only 5 regular season races remaining, there's 4 spots based on points. There's not going to be 4 drivers getting in on points when the playoffs start. At least I don't think so. How many spots are going to be left on points? 2, maybe 1. We'll see how things go as the regular season wraps up. Now for the drivers to look out for at Indianapolis Xfinity. We start with the driver that has won the last 2 races, 88 of Connor Zilisch. He's really coming on to his own. Can he be up front in Indy? Been talking about how strong each of the 2 Haas factory cars have been this year. Last year, when they were still under the Stewart-Haas banner for Xfinity, those drivers finished 1st and 2nd. Creed finished 5th in a Joe Gibbs car last year. Expect them to be fast again on Saturday. Look out for Christian Eckes to be quick here as well. 16 was fast last year. Think Christian will be bringing it on the bigger track. Kyle Larson will be hopping down to the Xfinity level, driving the 17. He should be contending up front, especially after winning the Cup race there last year. Last but not least, Justin Allgaier has been quiet the last couple of races. Think he's in the mix on Saturday. Now for the drivers to look out for the Brickyard 400. He won last year's event, drove the last 2 Indy 500s. Kyle Larson, can he go back-to-back? Todd Gilliland could end up in the top 10 and maybe sniff the top 5. He was 6th there last year. Denny Hamlin has showed speed at times in Indy. Can he keep the momentum going after the Dover win? Bubba Wallace is another one to be on the lookout for. He won Stage 2 and finished 6th last year and was 7th in Dover. Also, don't count out his 2311 teammate Tyler Reddick, who was 2nd last time at the Brickyard. Ryan Blaney should be competitive with a good track record previously at Indy. Now for Fast Davies bets. Xfinity. Give me a top 3 for Sheldon Creed if he can stay out of trouble. That should be a good one. Cup. Top 5 for Bubba Wallace is plus 380, and top 5 for Todd Gilliland is plus 5,000. Both were in the top 10 last year. Should be good ones. Now for trivia answer time. This episode's question is, who won the first NASCAR Brickyard 400 in 1994? Answer, Jeff Gordon in the number 24 as they reach stardom with the inaugural Brickyard 400. Now predictions for Indy. Xfinity. Kyle Larson is the favorite, jumping back down in the Xfinity seat. Think he gets the trophy on Saturday. Cup Series. Give me Ryan Blaney to get the win in a track that is owned by his owner of Team Penske, Roger Penske. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hope you get a chance to watch the racing from Indianapolis this weekend. Again, this is Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Till next time, everybody.